Welcome, ladies, to another episode of Women of Impact, Inspirations from Influential Women. And I'm excited to introduce you to a new friend of mine, Dolores Hirschman. We met a couple of weeks ago at an Epic Network live event, and she is doing some phenomenal things in the investment world, the business world, the speaking world. And one of my most favorite things that I got to learn about Dolores is that she has a heart and a passion to help equip and empower women. So welcome, Dolores. So excited to have you on our call today.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited for this conversation. But let me tell you a little bit about my background, and so that all the ladies in the room get to know a little bit where I come from. So I'm a fractional CMO for companies under $5 million. I have a passion and a heart for the small business. And as part of my background, I've led marketing teams for over 20 years. I work with big brands like Christie's, the Auction House, and Hyatt Hotels. I was a TEDx organizer for many years. And I was also one of the first people to get involved with digital marketing back in the day when I graduated from college in Argentina. That's where my accent is from. And today, companies will usually have a sales funnel, a sales strategy, but it's not a trust funnel. I believe that a sale is a consequence of building a trust-based relationship. So I help companies fix that and turn the sales funnels into trust funnels so that they can have a continuous lead flow of happy customers.
I love that. And I have not heard that term before, the trust funnel. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's so important that we build that trust with our clients, with the people that we want to bring into our sphere, and let them know that, hey, we are that person for you. And if we are in alignment with your vision, your values, and your goals, and where you want to take your business or even your life. And so I really appreciate that you've been able to really hone in on that and make that a key component of what it is that you do. Now, beyond marketing, you also do some other things around the speaking world. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's in the spirit of building trust that I've asked myself over the years, what is the fastest way for someone to trust me and my work? And I work mostly with service professionals, with coaches and experts and healers, accountants and architects, people that you would trust with a service. And for service professionals, speaking is at the top of the funnel of marketing, really. So it's not like it's another thing, is how do I get people into my community? Well, I know that every time I speak in front of a room, whether it's in my living room, at a coffee shop, in a Zoom, or on a stage, I get them to get curious about who I am and my work, and it's the beginning of a conversation. I always say that if you can make a stage your first date with your ideal clients, then you actually probably shorten the exploration or the trust relationship curve to much shorter time frame. If you meet someone through a Facebook ad, a static Facebook ad, you probably need 7, 8 to 14 touches before that person feels comfortable and safe to buy from you. But if you meet a speaker or an event and you actually even get a chance to ask a question or get them aside when they get off stage, the chances that you're actually going to engage with them, if they are the solution that you're looking for, is a lot higher. That's why my number one client attraction strategy that I've been teaching for years is speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, and like you said, that is kind of like the forefront, the top of the funnel, right? Getting ourselves out there, getting visible, allowing people to hear who we are, what it is that we have to offer, and building that trust through that process. Now, something that I talk to many women about is it's this thing that I know many of us have heard this term, which is imposter syndrome, and getting themselves out there and becoming visible. And what would you say to somebody that realizes and recognizes that this is an important part of their business, and maybe getting out there and speaking and developing the skill, but they have a lot of self-doubt around that? They have the imposter syndrome. What would you say to someone who maybe experiences that?
So first of all, imposter syndrome is real. I mean, Sarah, you just mentioned you and I met at Epic. where we are learning and in community to acquire businesses. And talk about imposter syndrome. For me, that's a whole new world that I'm exploring. And I don't feel qualified yet to go out there and say, I'm a investor and I'm acquiring business. I will get there. And the way I will get there is to feel the imposter syndrome and show up anyway. So imposter syndrome, like it's not just a few people experience it. We all, men and women, I've had a lot of men I worked with who also suffer from imposter syndrome. So first of all, if you're feeling imposter syndrome, then that's a sign that you are challenging yourself and stretching yourself. That's number one. Number two, if you're feeling an imposter syndrome, that means that you are a person of integrity and you care how prepared you are to show up. And if you're feeling imposter syndrome and you're taking action at the same time, that means that you're committed and you have courage. It's all about forward movement. It's all about feeling the feelings and moving forward anyway. I'm not saying pushing it down or ignoring it. Like feel the shaky hands, the sweaty hands, the like, the butterflies, and step up and step out anyway.
Mm, it's so good. It's that taking that action beyond what it is that you're feeling or experiencing in your mind and recognizing like this actually says that you care a lot about what it is that you do and how you're showing up
And
in
that
the
you're
world.
getting out there, you're playing bigger. We
Yeah.
would not feel imposter syndrome or fear or anything if we were not stretching ourselves. And what is life about? Life is about for me, I believe I have a big value in adventure, but dancing at the edge of my comfort zone is where I learn and where I will feel all of the butterflies, all of the self-doubt. But I know that when I've done it before, and it's a muscle, right? You've done it once, you've done it twice, and then you realize that you can take the action and you will be okay, even if you feel all the feelings.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. So one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that you actually have organized one of the largest TEDx conferences and speaking stages there on the East Coast where you're at. You're in, is it Massachusetts or Connecticut? I
Yeah,
can't.
that's just it.
Yes, yes. And so that you've been doing this for about 12 years now. And so one of the skill sets and offerings that you have is to train up and coach TEDx speakers. And so maybe tell us a little bit about that and your background, how you got into that. And maybe if somebody's thinking about, okay, maybe I need to do a little bit more storytelling and I want to get myself out there and, grow my business, grow my platform, my influence. What might you say to that?
Yeah, so yes, I ran one of the largest TEDx events in the East Coast for 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17. And in those 3 years, first, I learned a lot, but two, I had the privilege of coaching and preparing some really big speakers. I always say that I'm so proud that there's a speaker, a young woman that spoke on my stage in 2015, that today, 2024, she is actually living in a space shuttle. She's an astronaut. And I've been following her on Facebook because she's taking photos of Earth. um, but that is one of my most proud moments because she was very shy and she thought she had nothing to contribute. Talk about imposter syndrome. And I'm like, of course you have so much to contribute. I didn't know at the time that she was going to end up being an astronaut. I don't think she knew that either. But she's a brilliant woman making a difference in the world. So one of the things I learned in that journey where I said yes to organizing a TEDx event because I am passionate about ideas that can impact the world. And I'm also know that I have a brilliance in helping people communicate those ideas. So for those 3 years, I hone in my skill set on helping someone communicate sometimes very complex ideas to a very diverse audience of young adults and even children. And how do you explain epigenetics or science to a fourth grader in the room and not, and keep their attention? And that skill set that I developed during those 3 years have actually translated into me helping business owners, entrepreneurs, taking this framework that I developed then and using it to explain their work in various audiences. And what I always say is not about putting pretty words tied together to make a good story. It's about a combination of what I say, the head and the heart, bringing the head and the heart together and creating a talk that is both engaging, insightful, and inspires your audience to take action, to learn more about you, to follow you, maybe to become your client.
Mm, yes, so good. And I think, knowing how to put those pieces together is that gift that you have, your superpower, your secret sauce of you helping others to identify that, because that's where it gets kind of fuzzy for a lot of people. And I can speak from my own experience is how do I communicate what's in my mind in a clear train of thought, but also inspiring others to take action and to move forward, whether it's in their business or in their life or other aspects in that sense.
Yeah. And actually one of the things I created is like I call it the pain by number method, where I
Mm,
break down a talk in 7 steps that if you're okay with it, I want to share my screen. And I'm looking
mhm.
that way because I put your video there because I'm about to share my screen. So I can walk you through these 7 steps, because once you understand the different parts of an engaging, converting talk, it's actually very easy to put it together.
Yeah, I would love that.
So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and
There we go.
there we go. Can you see me?
Yes.
Perfect. So write your talk. So let me walk you through the 7 steps to write your talk. Now,
Mm,
we can be talking about a 5-minute talk, 15-minute talk, 1 hour talk, and I'll tell you a little bit how you create this accordion style. But first, we're going to walk through the 7 steps. Step number 1, make your audience care. Nobody cares about who you are until you give them a reason to care. So you know how people get on stage and say, "Hi, my name is Dolores. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, organizer." When you do all of that, it's actually an icebreaker for yourself, and you're kind of making yourself comfortable on stage,
mm,
but your audience is completely disengaging
mhm.
because they know that if you're talking about yourself in minute 0, is because you are getting started. They don't need to listen to you. But if you get on stage and go right into it and you say something like, "My hands are sweating. I'm standing on stage, my stomach is in a knot and my knees are shaking." Have you ever felt that way? Now I got their attention. One, I'm doing a story. Second, I'm doing it in present tense. The tense matters a lot. And third, I'm kind of describing an experience that resonates with them. Because
Yeah.
most people, like 99% of people, even if they're good at speaking, they will feel butterflies or shaky knees. And so, and so you gotta start in a place where the audience recognizes from the moment you open your mouth that you are talking to them, that you see them, that you know them.
Mm,
So that's how you make your audience care. Now that you got them, and you could take, what did I take? 20 seconds? Like,
mm,
I can say that and accomplish my goal. Like, it really is very brief. Now that you got their attention, then you have to talk about what you're going to talk about. Now, this is not about a long explanation of what you're going to teach, but this is about presenting your idea. So I could say something like, let's say that I say the shaky knee, and have you ever experienced that? And then I can say something like, I believe that even though we might be afraid of it, speaking is the fastest way to grow your business.
yeah.
So now you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about speaking as far as business growth. Short, sweet,
Mm,
succinct, clear. Now, if I did step number 1 and step number 2 really well, what has happened? The audience is engaged and they want more from me. But here's the thing, they don't know who I am. How can they trust me? I always give this example. It's kind of funny, but it's not. But let's say that you are at a stage of one person. You are going to the doctor, and the doctor starts with a resonant question like, do you have chest pain? Do you get short of breath when you get up the stairs? And you say, oh, he knows what he's talking about because that's how I feel. And so then the doctor goes and says, I believe that you have a heart condition and open heart surgery is the right path to go. I'm making a joke here. That's his idea, right? He's presenting a solution.
Yeah.
What do you want to know next if you have never met this doctor?
Well, I mean, what is that gonna what does that
Are you
mean?
qualified to do this?
Yeah.
Have you done this before? What is your success rate? Like, do you have the credibility and authority to be that solution for me? Of course, this is a very extreme example, but I always use this example because I know you won't forget it. Because step number 3 is where you have to talk about yourself. Some clients would say, well, I don't really want to talk about myself. I said, well, that's not an option, because how would I trust what you're going to teach me if I don't know who you are or if you've done this before? How do I know that you're not just woke up this morning and are kind of paraphrasing someone else's work, right? So step number 3 is through storytelling, you share your credentials. You talk about, in my case, well, I've run 3 large TEDx events. I have coached hundreds of students. I have launched a stage agency. Like, you talk about why you are the right messenger for this message. That's step number 3. Again, it doesn't have to be long, but it's an important step. Now,
I have a question with that. So maybe this is somebody just getting into their career. Let's say they don't have a lot of experience. How do they build that trust with their audience as they're getting going?
you can say, I have had, for example, when I became a coach 10 years ago, I got certified to be a life coach. And I was starting, and I didn't charge a lot of money for my clients, but I still was starting, and I would speak. And I would say, I have had a passion for helping people all my life. When I was in my 20s, I volunteered here. When I was in my 30s, I mentored this. When I was like, only to realize there's actually a profession called coaching. I didn't know that. And so for the last 3 years, I've invested money and time in becoming the best coach I could be at this point. I am a graduate from this program. I have a credential from blah, blah, blah. And for the last 6 months, I have opened my coaching practice working with blah, 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 women in their 40s and helping them accomplish XYZ. And so that's like a short extent, but you could even say, I'm launching my coaching business today. And because I'm new to this, I'm taking 3 clients pro bono, or I'm taking 3 clients at $25 an hour. Like, you're not going to position yourself at $10,000 an hour if you're just starting. But here's the thing, when all else fails, be honest.
Yeah. Well, I feel that sometimes holds people back from actually stepping into that because they are like, well, I don't have the experience, and they have that comparison, trap where they're looking at people who have been doing it for several years and they don't have the case studies or the testimonials or the experience quite yet. And so that holds them back from actually taking that step forward. And so it's great to hear that you can use past experiences and passions and
Yeah.
examples that don't necessarily say I have XYZ, these many clients. However, this is what I've done, this is where I'm going.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
because I'm stepping into this is what I want to offer. So that's great.
Exactly. Yeah. So you start where you start. You never lie. But I don't believe that, like, we are the sum of our life. We are the sum of our experiences. Even if like you and I are stepping into this acquisition world. Yes, we're new to it. Yes, we might be a little bit intimidated. But if I really am honest, I have all the skill sets to thrive.
Yes.
I have negotiated. I have bought and sold businesses. I have closed businesses because I didn't know anybody. Like, I have puzzle pieces that if I were to sit down and put it together, I have the confidence to step into this role powerfully. The fact that I've never actually done it in this way doesn't mean I don't have the puzzle pieces to be successful.
Yeah. Just making a new combination with the experiences and the skill sets that you have and just
Develop a
taking
new
those.
identity.
Yeah, that's great. So good.
And so we got to step 3 successfully. And steps 1, 2, and 3 can be, again, very, very short. Doesn't have to take a lot of time. And it's what I call the 3-step prep where you're preparing the audience's brain to receive your teaching. Because if you get on stage and say, hey, I'm Dolores, I'm going to teach you the 3 things to write your talk, hook your audience, like they're not ready to consume your teaching yet. You have to set them up. And that's what steps 1, 2, and 3 are for. Now, when you get to step 4, that's what I call the meat and potatoes. This is when you teach. So I'm technically on step 4 right now. I'm taking you through my 7 steps. I'm breaking it down. So step 4 is when you teach your methodology or teach 3 key points or give some data and facts and you wrap it all. If you see my graph, it says story all over it. It means that a story is a tool, not a talk. If you stand on a stage and tell a personal story of success, you just share something about you, but you did not share a journey for your audience to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, makes
You're
sense.
talking about yourself. And so how you're making the audience work and okay, I need to listen to this story, process the story in my brain, and see how it applies to me. It's too much work. But when you use snippets of story within a framework like this is a framework that is focused on your audience. And you use story to illustrate key points, but not the story is not the talk. Your core idea, this belief that speaking, in my case, speaking can help you grow your business, is that talk. So step number 4, meat and potatoes, go teach something yummy, add value, be generous. I believe that you could actually teach everything you know in your free talk and people will buy from you because 1, they're not going to remember everything. And 2, them learning, hearing what you say doesn't mean that they can implement it. They will need you as a guide to hold their hand. So don't hold back. Teach, because they will, if basically you want the audience to feel that if you are so generous on the stage when they haven't invested any money yet, imagine how generous you will be when they do.
Yeah, what another great point, because I talk to many people again who like, well, I don't want to put too like all my information out there because what will I have to offer when I do get to work with them in a different capacity or closer proximity. But I love that I kind of relate it to Costco. I don't know if you've been to Costco and when they have their food samples out and you get to try everything as many times as you want. And it's like you can have a whole meal just by going through their sample line. But it's great because now like, oh, that's really good. Next time I'm here, I'm going to buy that, even though you got to sample it a little bit. So I love that. That don't let that feeling
Don't
like,
hold
oh,
back.
what if I give away? Yeah, it's just to go for it and build that trust and create that value for your
I live by the rule give, get. Or actually give, receive. It's not even get. I don't like the word get. So if you give generously, trust me, the world has a way of giving back to you. You will receive. So don't hold back. So let's say that we did step number 4. We taught something powerful. People are like, oh my God, they are having ahas and insight and they're loving you. So now you start to kind of come out of that height of content and you bring the audience back to your core idea. You remind them of why you're standing on stage. It's like, okay, remember, guys, we are talking about this because I believe blah, 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 right? You can even repeat what you said in step 2. And so at this point, you now are giving your audience a chance to imagine what life would look like if they integrate what you're teaching. So I could say, hey, Sarah, imagine, or ladies watching this video, what would your business look like if you had an engaging signature talk that you can use every time you're in front of one person in a sales call, a room full of ideal clients, a cocktail party, a living room, carpool, like every place you gather with a group of people is a chance to communicate about what you do as work. And by understanding the 7 steps, you don't have to use the 7 steps in a pretty talk every time. You can be in the carpool line and talk about, just do you steps 1 and 2 and 3. Do you feel stuck in motherhood? I believe that when we understand our value, we can be better mothers. And I've spent the last 10 years helping mothers. What's going to come next? Oh, can you give me your phone number, right? That's it. These
Yeah.
7 steps are little pockets of script that you can use in social media. You can use in a
Yes.
conversation. You can put them together into a talk. And you can also stretch and shrink as an accordion. And I'll more on that in a second. Let me just finish the steps. So step 5, you remind of the idea. Step 6, you make them imagine a life where this thing that you're teaching can have an impact in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine. I use things like picture this. You are on a stage and you are engaging your audience, and then you have a line of people wanting to buy from you. You make them imagine. And then step number 7, and wrapping it up, is okay, now that you've taken them through the whole journey, and I depict this as a journey because you have to understand that you are taking your audience in an emotional journey. You are making them feel things, and it has to be intentional. So by the time you get to step 7, you are making them feel things like hopeful or clear or have a path, like, oh wow, this is the piece I was missing, or you have taken them in a journey that now they see something different. So step number 7, the natural progression of a talk like this, is invite them to take action. What does action look like? Well, follow me on Instagram, Dolores Hirschman, or download my free resource, which I'm going to actually gift you, or email me, or come to the back of the room, or follow me to the bathroom, whatever it is. This is an actual a structure that has worked for me and my clients for so many years. And here's a tip that I've never actually mentioned this in an interview. I don't know why, but one of the things I do when I go to events, and talk about getting out of your comfort zone, I intentionally try to grab the microphone. You know, when you go to an event and they get a chance to grab the microphone and ask a question or contribute, right?
Mm-hmm.
I make it a point to grab the microphone in the first session of a day, whether it's before the break or before the lunch or whatever. Why? Because if I get to grab the microphone, and I usually would have some language because I have my talk written, and it might be that I'm asking a question relevant to the session, but obviously I'll introduce myself. I say, hey, my name is Dolores, and I'm a fractional CMO and a speaker coach. Simple. And then you ask your question. What happens? For years, I would say I'm a TEDx speaker coach. The moment the break would happen, literally, I would be followed to the bathroom. Because now I stood up, they met me, there's only so many people that grab the microphone in the first session, and now people want to know more about me. So whatever it is that you do, make sure that you get a chance to speak up, introduce yourself, your name, and a one-liner of what you do, in the room in front of everybody, because it's a fastest way to attract ideal clients.
Yeah, what a great tip, and how powerful too. And doing it at the front end
Simple.
of the event gives you a lot of opportunity to be able to meet new people and connect. Yes, what a great tip. Regarding inviting your audience to action. So should you have that end goal in mind when you begin to prepare your talk?
So that's why I say that the speaking is at the top of the funnel. But if you just have your talk and you don't have anything else, it's going to be a very leaky funnel. It's going to be like a road to nowhere. So when I work, as a fractional CMO, I work with my clients, and I want to understand, what do they want? What do they offer? I understand what products they offer. I understand what their ideal clients are. And what we do together is we map up the customer journey. So the customer journey for me would look like something like this. I go and speak like I just did. And I know that people in the audience, not everybody, but the right people, the ones that have this need, were like, oh, that's the piece I was missing. So before I finish today in this interview, Sarah, I'm going to actually give a free resource. I actually have created a customized ChatGPT prompt like an AI coach that's going to guide you through my 7 steps. And I'm going to give you that for free. All you have to do is put your name in a landing page. And what do I have? So I have prepared that for people. You're going to put your name there. And what have I done beyond that? You're going to get my free gift. And then you're going to actually get 3 or 4 emails telling you more about the work I do. And I'm going to be full transparency. I'm actually going to invite you to purchase my course. It's a $997 Write Your Talk code course. I usually sell it for $3,000, but this course will actually walk you through the full steps. And there's also guidance on how to get on stages. So, but it's a great question. I have mapped out the customer journey from before I get on stage all the way to you becoming a client. It's thought through, it's created on the back end. There's technology, copywriting, design involved. So when I get on stage, I know that I am just, it's like a domino. I am the spark to allow the right person to go through my journey that I've intentionally created for that person. And if it all feels right to them, and if I've done a good job, a combination of those things, then that person might become a client.
Yes, so good. And I think that's so key and important to understand there's a customer journey. And when you're building that trust funnel, that you need to be out there, share your story, giving value, but having that end goal in mind. And ultimately, if we are building a business, growing a business, we want that end goal to attract a client into our sphere or buy our product or whatever that might be. And so being very intentional about what that looks like, but this also gives that opportunity to build those touch points, those trust points along the way, because you are nurturing them through the process and allowing them to get to know you, offering value, and then ultimately hoping to bring them in to your business or purchase your product. So yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
not because we're running a profitable business, is also the responsible thing to do. It's almost like you have a friend and they call you and they say, you know, I am in tears, this happened, I need help. And you say, oh yeah, I experienced that before. I know how to help you. You know, you do the blah, 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 blah. You do go quick. And the person is like, oh my God, you can help me. Can we go for lunch? Can we meet? Can I come to your house? Can you sit with me? Can you show me? And you say, no, I'm only going to give you the high level points. I'm not going to get in the trenches with you. I'm not going to show you. And you left that friend worse than you found them, because you have the solution, you have the key to their problem, but you're not going to spend time with them solving it for whatever reason. So by inviting them to go deeper with you, what you're doing is you showcase that you have a solution for them, and that you also have a way to invite them to actually go deeper and execute, integrate that solution into their business.
Yeah, such a great point. Well, Dolores, I mean, I feel like we're just barely scratching the surface here. There's so much good meat, meat and potatoes, like you like to say, that we could dive into and uncover, the layers on each of these steps and crafting that, that signature talk and that thing that is going to help us build that trust funnel. I know you've mentioned a free resource and you've got a course out there. Can you share a little bit more about that? How, you know, those that are watching this recording can access that, where they can find you and follow you. Maybe not to the bathroom, but on social media and all the things.
I've had great conversations waiting for my turn. So I'll share the link with you, Sarah, so they can share with your community. But the resource I'm going to give you is a ChatGPT prompt that I'm actually going to share my screen. Let me show you so that you can play. So what I'm passionate about is, we are either going to embrace or shy away from AI, and I choose to embrace always.
Yes.
And so I've created, I've coded an AI coach. So right now, full disclosure, this only works if you have the paid version of AI. I think it's $15 a month. But once you join this resource, I'm developing open AI version of this. So hang tight for that one. But basically, I have fed my structure, my 7 steps to this AI model. And if you click, how should I structure my signature talk? It actually is going to give you my 7 steps. So I'm going to give you access to this. And then you can, using prompts, you can say, okay, this is great. Can you help me meet the audience where they are? And you can tell them about your business or your work, and ChatGPT will help you. So for example, this is great. Help me get started with step 1. I'm a health coach helping people get fit after, I'm making this up, after having a baby. I don't know, I'm making it up. And so it's going to write something. Here's target for the media for the artist. So open strategy. So yeah, I understand that. So acknowledge. So you see,
Yeah.
look at this.
It breaks it down so you can understand their mindset, where they're coming from, which, by the way, is very relatable. Getting fit after having a
So
baby.
it's even writing it for me. Have you ever looked in the mirror after having a baby, or if you'll ever feel like yourself again or in your own body? This question is probably because me. So it's also giving you prompts on how to start it.
Yes. Love it. And
So
this is something that could have taken us hours or days to create, can do for you in minutes, which is phenomenal. Fantastic.
so that's a free gift that you're going to receive when you put your name on the landing page that Sarah's going to share. And then once you're in, I will tell you about my online course that goes deep into this. And it also gives you examples of real people on stage on how they start their talk, how they present their ideas. I'm going to walk you through each step, module by module, but I'm also going to share some tricks on how to find stages, how to pitch to stages, how to prepare for a stage, not memorize, but rehearse, how to create your slide deck. And even your speaker kit. I'm going to walk you through the whole step of having your talk and getting on stage.
Yes. Wow. This has been great. Such great practical steps that, someone who's looking to create more visibility, create their signature talk, get on stages. And even if you're not on a stage, being able to use this as something that you said is in the carpool line, or as sound bites for your social media content. There's so many great ways that you could utilize having something like this crafted and in your toolbox, for you just to, create and create a space for you to just go further in your business and in your life, and all of those wonderful things. All right, Dolores, this has been fantastic. Ladies, if you have not already clicked on that link, go ahead and do so right now. Follow, what's your Instagram handle? Do you have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anything like that you could share?
Dolores Hirschman on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. Dolores Hirschman, my name.
Okay, wonderful. All right, any other final thoughts that you'd like to share?
I would say, ladies, get out there, feel what you feel, acknowledge what you feel, and know that you're stronger than your fear, and commit to your work.
Yeah, so good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dolores. So excited for our community to be able to learn more about you. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.